Hey Tribe, today we're going to give you some tools to help recover your hamstrings. This will also lead up into your lower back. So if you are feeling any tension in there, try these out. This will be especially good for those CrossFitters who also did 22.2. Help you get back to that gym and ready to tackle that last workout in the open. First movement we're going to focus on is going to be a rotational drill with a PVC pipe. We're just going to take one arm, straighten it, and put it at the top of the PVC pipe like Nadine does. The other arm is going to be kind of hanging close to the body. Think of it like you're holding onto an oar if you're in a kayak. And then what we're going to do is start rotating the body side to side. We're going to go nice and slow and small at first to make sure that we're not creating any pain. Just focus on your breath during this time too. Try to breathe in and out through the nose while we're just creating slow, steady movement. And then focus on keeping your hips square. So our hips are still facing forward. They're not rotating. Nadine, can you rotate the hips in this so they can see what it looks like with the hip rotation? So that's with the hip rotation. That's good too, but we're not there yet. So we want to try and keep the hips still. I like doing this by squeezing my glutes. I like to squeeze the glutes. That kind of stops the hip. Also, if I straighten the legs or push my heels to the ground, I should feel my quads fire up and allow my body to rotate. From there, we can go a little bit bigger. We're going to start relaxing that body a little bit more. We can get some upward and downward motion a little bit in there. And you're going to start finding the spots in the spine where it feels a little bit tighter. She can also slowly unleash or unlock the hips like she's doing. We can even get it to the point where we start twisting at the knees and onto the feet as well too. You can have those feet kind of come up and rotate as well. So just creating big ones and then slowly going back down to the small ones. Stop moving the feet, stop moving the knees, then square away the hips, create that rotation, and then we're going to switch it up to that other side. So she's going to go to the other side and she's going to do that same exact thing. What you might find is one side is going to be tighter than the other side. That's normal, especially on the one side that, that we usually feel that pain. You might find that that side of the spine is really tight as well too. Super easy drill to do. And just go to what you feel is comfortable. In general, we recommend at least 2 minutes. I would say 2 minutes per side. Go slow for those first 30 to 45 seconds. Be very methodical and just listen to where your body's going in your range of motion. Awesome. I'll steal that PVC pipe, Nadine. Next, we're going to go into cat-cow 2.0. So we're going to go into quadruped position on this. So having those hips right over those knees, the shoulders are going to be right over the wrists. And in general, when we do a cat-cow or normal cat-cow, we're working a lot on that upper part of that spine, the thoracic. So if she does a normal cat-cow, we're creating that big arch in both directions. And that's good for that spine there. But when we're talking about attacking more of that hamstring and lower back, we want to try and talk about more of the manipulation of that lumbar spine down here. So what we're going to try and do is a cat-cow 2.0. So the top portion of her spine, her cervical and thoracic spine are going to stay pretty much neutral. And what we're trying to do is a pelvic rotation that is going to lengthen and shorten the lumbar spine. So all the rotation should be happening on almost a point straight through the hips. So if we create a little bit of that rotation, that's up there at the lumbar right here, and then we're dipping it back down. So this is all staying relatively flat. Another way to do this is to tell if you are creating that movement is putting like a yoga block right there. So a lot of times we don't have that connection or that feeling of that lumbar moving. So sometimes if we videotape ourselves with a yoga block on there, we can actually see that movement. But taking this very, very, very slow, we have to think a lot about that movement. And what we also want to do is tuck the chin a little bit, but pull the head up into my hand. So pull it up, yes. So now we're really locking in that thoracic spine along with that, or excuse me, the cervical spine while we do that. And good, and you can rest, Nadine. And then the last one we're going to do, we're going to flip over, and we're going to lay down. We're going to be in supine position. But just going back to the cat-cow 2.0s, when you're doing those, you really do have to take it slow. There might almost feel like there's no movement going on at all. There might feel like there's no movement going on at all. And that's okay. You're going to just keep on trying to go slower and think about that moving, and sooner or later it will. Another way to think about it is if we were trying to pull our belly button up and in, or create the front of her belt buckle to be up and in. That could also help create that rotation that's going on with the hips. Okay, so think about that too. The last one we're going to do is going to be a good hamstring strengthener into the more of an active position. So we're going to keep her right knee is going to be bent, stayed the way that it is. The left leg is going to be straight. Now when it's straight, I want her to focus on locking the quad out, pushing the heel long. So this toe is going to be relatively up. So she should really feel that quad lock out. You feel that in the quad? Good. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to bring that leg straight up. She took it nice and slow, which is awesome. We want to make sure there's no bend in the knee, and then we're bringing it right back down. And then what we can do is bring that up a little bit faster. Get into that end range and then coming back down. What you might find is as you come up, that knee might bend. So as you bring it up, bend that knee. Do your best of staying in this position and trying to straighten that leg and see where we can get. That might mean that the leg is only here with it straight, but we need to make sure that this leg is straight because the hamstring attachment, we can bring that back down. I'm going to have you switch feet. Go up, and then we're going to raise it all the way up and back down. And that hamstring attachment is all the way at the ischial tuberosity. I know it's a big nerdy word, but it's right at the base of the glute. So if she brings this leg up with her knee bent, this muscle is not fully contracted, so it might not actually be pulling, helping release a little bit of tension. But if we straighten the leg the best that we can, we make sure that that entire hamstring is being engaged during the movement. So even if we only come up to this high, that's okay. Just bring it up to where we can with this quad firing, that knee locked out, that heel long, and that toe up. And relatively, after you do a couple of these, she can move it in a little bit faster position or raising that up. Now, one might also feel a pinching of the hips that is happening up here when they're bringing that leg up. If that's the case, sometimes that's just a matter of changing, I'm going to stand up for this, is changing that position of the hips from being here to here. So if you try to just hike up the other hip and then do that movement, she just hiked that hip up good, and then try and create that, we might find that we get more range of motion, and if it doesn't, try to hike up the other hip while we raise that. So change that position up, and what you might find is you can increase your range of motion depending on which hip you hike, especially if you have a natural lateral tilt of the hips that might have like different size. For instance, if it feels like you have different sized legs, or you have that lateral tilt of the hips, this can also help kind of free up any of that movement going all down into the hamstring. Awesome, Nadine. Thank you very much. So those are 3 exercises you guys can do, or movements that you guys can do to help kind of relieve or recover from any hamstring tension, even into that lower back. We've got pretty much the canoe rows that we have with the PVC pipe, allowing that body to rotate, starting off with those hips staying forward, allowing that full body to rotate. Then we're going to go into our cat-cow 2.0s of working more on that lumbar. And then we're going to finish it off with some of these hamstring leg openers that we're just bringing up. Heel nice and long, focus on that quad being engaged, and trying to see if we can get that pull all the way up at the ischial tuberosity that's sitting right in the base of that glute area. Let us know what you think. Try them out. Tell us in the comments. As always, if you like our videos, feel free to subscribe. We put them out every single Monday, and we'll see you soon.